Good evening. I'm Stacey Amos for News Channel 8, and these are the top stories that we have for you tonight. Another bloody and brutal weekend of violence for our territory, and the governor sends a message. WAPA receives a big approval for the territory, and Nevis mourns a political icon. Those stories and more are up next for you on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, the Virgin Islands has had 3 consecutive days of violence this past weekend. News Channel 8's Wes Small starts his report in the LBJ housing community on St. Croix.
Thank you very much, Stacy. I can still remember the song "In the Merry, Merry Month of May." Should be changed to the Bloody, Bloody Month of May. We're here at LBJ housing community where multiple gunshots rang out here around 9 o'clock in the evening, taking the life of another young black man, this time 24-year-old Isaac Gonzalez. He was found dead in a vehicle with multiple gunshots to his body. Before I go to Melody Rames and bring it on home, I want the cameraman to zoom in to the gas tank there and see these shots. The volley of shots were incredible. Could have been like a 203 high-powered rifle, 45, just not the normal handgun. We understand that a little baby and a woman was in that vehicle that was shot up that took the life of 24-year-old Isaac Gonzalez. She ran with that baby, but to no avail. These gangsters just kept shooting. Look at that against the wall. You could see the volley of shot just inches from that gas tank. What would have happened had those gas tanks went up? Right now, let's go to Melody Raines, VIPD spokesperson.
Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives on St. Croix are investigating a shooting death that occurred a few minutes after 9 p.m. on Sunday, May 27th in the LBJ housing community. A 24-year-old man who was later identified as Isaac Gonzalez was found dead in a vehicle with multiple gunshots to his body. Another victim was shot at least once in the upper body and taken to the Governor Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center for treatment. According to the preliminary report, police arrived at the scene and saw Gonzalez seated in a black Acura vehicle, and he was unresponsive. There were multiple bullet holes on the vehicle, police said. Gonzalez was later pronounced dead by medical personnel. Police retrieved several spent shell casings that were on the roadway around the vehicle. Detectives are urging anyone who witnessed the shooting or has any knowledge about it to say what they know by calling detectives at 712-6077 or 712-6037. You can also call the anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers USVI, by calling 1-800-222-TIPS.
It's been a brutal month for all of us. Emergency responders from May all the way through the governor, we're all feeling it. This news reporter has been woken up all times at night. Right now, I'd just like to ask, please, for a moment of silence. Can we just get a moment of silence and take a deep breath and step back in our territory for all the bloodshed? Here at LBJ, we could be possibly, thank you, we could be looking for a cream or champagne colored SUV. Again, if you know anything, say something. That's the only way these murders are going to stop. 1-800-222-TIPS or 911. Again, LBJ, 24-year-old Isaac Gonzalez, found dead here, multi of shots. I was just on the phone to Juan Louis Hospital. The second suspect is in stable condition. I've been talking to family members as well. We're all praying for his recovery. At LBJ housing community, when will the brutal assault of our young men stop? I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Meanwhile, Virgin Islands Governor John DeYoung has spoken out in response to the violence in our beloved territory we usually see as paradise. Let's take a look.
I'm as concerned as everyone. I think this weekend was, unfortunately, it was a very unusual weekend, both in St. Thomas and in St. Croix. What happened this weekend is completely unacceptable. And the police officers are focused in terms of identifying what happened and who did it, and they make tremendous progress. You know, I was at the hospital Saturday night from 8:30 till Sunday morning, And those gentlemen, those officers that responded to the crime are heroes in many respects. I think a lot of times we in the community take for granted what takes place, and those officers put themselves in harm's way as part of a regular and traditional patrol because of some gunshots that are taking place the night before and a young man. And right now, you know, my heart goes out to them and their families, and particularly to the young man that we had to, officer that we had to take off island. But the level of crime is completely unacceptable. And you know, quite frankly, for our community, we're fully aware of the circle that is taking place and what's going on. And what we're doing now is doubling down to make sure that we get the convictions, we have the identification, we have the warrants to go forward. I've spoken to both chiefs of police in the two districts, the commissioner, to make sure that the resources are there, the overtime is there, that the officers understand, but more importantly, that the officers are careful. Because quite frankly, you know, we live in a very different time, and a lot of these young people today, unfortunately, irrespective of all the programs that we put in place in the schools, extracurricular activities, there's a certain sense of hopelessness that we've got to give back to them. But it's intolerable what we're doing, and what we're going to do is make sure that the police act appropriately and that the prosecutions take place, and make sure and work with the judges to make sure that they pay for what has happened. It's just unacceptable, both to us and our quality of life, to our visitors that come here all together. But I want the community to feel very comfortable that the officers are out there, they're doing what is necessary. Not everything they do can be publicized, but these officers really do take their jobs very seriously, and they're out there doing what's best for us.
As the governor said, we are praying for the two police officers who were injured in that deadly shootout near the Contant car wash. News Channel 8's Wes Small talks about this recent incident.
What about Contant Car Wash? What's going on there in St. Thomas? In a second, you're going to hear from the owner of Contant Car Wash. But Gerald Jackson, remember him? Stacy, it was back April 4th in that abandoned building. When you're seeing some scenes now from the abandoned building, you remember ammunition and drugs then. He was the suspect then. He's on $10,000 bail. Not anymore. He's not on bail anymore. He was in that shootout with police officers. He is dead. Just 24 years old now. What happened at Contant Car Wash this weekend? Let's go to the owner as he explains.
My name is Mr. Hendricks John Baptist. I run the car wash, Magic Car Wash in Contant. I was there when I heard the shooting in the area, but nothing happened near the car wash, by the car wash, close to the car wash. The incident happened a block from the car wash. The first one happened right above John Thomas. So it was not near the car wash, close by the car wash, and nobody at the car wash was threatened that night. So I don't know why the media say near the car wash, close to the car wash, by the car wash, behind the car wash. Nothing happened behind the car wash. I full a camera at the car wash, protecting the car wash, the outside the car wash, front of the car wash, back of the car wash. And I don't see nothing in my camera happen near the car wash, by the car wash.
Back to you across the room, Stacy. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
In other news, WAPA has received board approval for solar energy in the territory. News Channel 8's Wes Small speaks directly with Executive Director Hugo Hodge about this big landmark for WAPA.
Thank you very much, Stacy. On the line then is Executive Director of the Water and Power Authority for the Virgin Islands, Mr. Hugo Hodge, Executive Director, as he talks about solar energy and the generation for the VI. Thank you, Director. I know you're very, very busy. Please explain to us what is going on with the utility and possibly some help with our bills every month. And I understand 14 to 15% of the territory's peak load demand will be affected.
What we've been trying to do is diversify our dependency on fuel oil, point to alternative sources for power generation. Additionally, we've been trying to get some renewables in the mix so that we don't have the dependency on volatile commodities such as oil or any other commodity for that matter. So while we know that part of our resources would need to be dependent on some kind of commodity, whether it be natural gas or something else, we do need to have a certain portion of our demand that's hedged against the volatility of any commodity. And we went after a solar deal through a RFP, seeking for PPAs. We had a lot of response, a lot of activity, a lot of interest in the RFP, and we were looking for a minimum of 10 megawatts, and the response was so good, we were able to come up with PPAs totaling approximately 18 megawatts of energy in the territory, or 9 on average between each district. And don't know of any jurisdiction that has 15% of their peak being met by a renewable source like solar without storage. But we have that in abundance right now. We have some cloud cover issues. We have to spread the sites out to make sure that we accommodate for the risk of cloud cover and what it does to a grid. But we think we've accounted for that, and we're very proud of this endeavor and this offering, and plan to formally sign the PPAs early next week.
That is good news. And some of the bidders are big name companies and brands like Toshiba, Lanco VI, and Sun Edison. And those are just some of the 6 bidders that are involved, correct, sir?
Those are the ones that receive the PPAs. They may have multiple sites, some of them do. But those are big players in the game. Toshiba, the name speaks for itself, and Edison and Lanco are very big players in the solar industry. So it's about 6 sites that we're going to have, but those are the 3 companies we're doing the sites with. So we're very pleased to have not only companies interested in doing this in the Virgin Islands, but reputable companies such as these are very good to have. Let's be willing to get the parties to do.
Coming up, Nevis mourns the passing of their first premier, and the Dominican Republic experiences a public shooting in broad daylight at one of the busiest malls. That's next in your Caribbean Report. Now here's your news from around the Caribbean region. From Nevis, Dr. Simeon Daniel, 78 years old, Nevis's first premier, has passed away. Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas has described him as someone who had a direct impact on the social, political, and economic evolution of the island. Quote, "With his passing, we mark the end of an important era," Dr. Douglas said in paying tribute to Daniel, who died on Sunday. Daniel died after a prolonged illness, and Prime Minister Douglas pledged to Premier Joseph Perry, the current Premier of Nevis, his full support as his colleagues go through this period of mourning. From the Caribbean region, it was not the best news Caribbean leaders wanted to hear. Already stung by mixed economic growth ranging from a downturn in countries like Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines to marginal growth in Barbados, St. Lucia, and the BVI, the Caribbean was told that its premier financial development bank had had its credit rated downgraded by the U.S.-based Moody's Investment Services recently. Continuing with the Caribbean region, 30 persons from CARICOM member states recently participated in 4 technical sessions held during a training workshop on renewable energy technologies, in particular solar cooling and heating systems, photovoltaics, and wind energy. The workshop was held from May 9th through the 11th in Bridgetown, Barbados, and it was a training workshop on renewable energy technologies hosted by the Caribbean Solar Energy Society. From Dominica, Rosalie Bay Resort, an eco-luxury and wellness retreat, has just received a 2012 TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence Award. The accolade, which honors hospitality excellence, is given only to establishments that consistently achieve outstanding traveler reviews on TripAdvisor and is extended to qualifying businesses worldwide. Only 10% of accommodations listed on TripAdvisor receive this prestigious award. From the Dominican Republic, a large group of people, including many children, watched in horror as a man opened fire on another and shot him 6 times in the second-floor food court of the Dominican Republic's swanky Bella Vista Mall. Police said the shooter, identified as Luis Rafael Diaz, 39, killed Edwin Mateo, 38, on a debt of about $1 million. The accused was captured several blocks from the shooting area, and reports also state that Diaz is reportedly wanted in the country of Spain, where he fled after being sentenced to 5 years in prison for an attempted murder there. From Jamaica, combining flamboyance with a knack for electrifying audiences, Usain Bolt has become the savior of track and field, a sport well beyond its glory days. But on Friday night, he thrilled the crowd that packed 21,000-seat Metski Stadium, though he did not perform up to his lofty standards. Dashing into a slight headwind, Bolt won the 100 meters in a modest 10.04 seconds, his slowest time in the event in 3 years. He had to chase down 36-year-old Kim Collins of St. Kitts and Nevis in the final 30 meters. From Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican singers Marc Anthony and Cheyenne joined Mexican artist Marco Antonio Solis on a tour of the U.S. starting on August 3rd. The artists are considered to be 3 of Latin America's most popular singers, and this is the first time they will all perform together. They will begin in Miami and continue through various cities, including New York, Houston, and San Antonio and will end in Las Vegas in September. From Trinidad, former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner will not face charges at home related to the bribery scandal that rocked World Soccer's governing body. Warner quit all his positions in FIFA and in the Caribbean game and therefore is not facing sanction from the body, but he had been facing the risk of charges in his homeland where he is a member of the government. And in your cricket update, England beat the West Indies by 9 wickets to win the second test with more than a day to spare at Trent Bridge on Monday. West Indies coach Otis Gibson praised the batting of Marlon Samuels and Darren Sammy as a source of encouragement for him, and Darren Sammy completed a significant achievement as well with his maiden Test 100 on Saturday. Please be sure to check our Facebook page for all full details on stories in our Caribbean report. Now, the VITEMA Expo was a great success. Let's take a look at some highlights.
My name is Noel Smith. I'm the Assistant Director at VITEMA. Today is our second annual Preparedness Expo. What we have here today is we have all the local responders, fire, police, rescue, VIPD. VIPD. We have the National Guard.
I'm PFC Levon. I'm part of the VI National Guard. We're here from 610 92 Whiskey, and we're here part of the expo, just showing a little bit of what we do, and that is water purification. This is the LWP. If you look, it consists of 5 modules.
I'm Sergeant Emil Proctor from the VI National Guard, attached to the 610 Water Supply Company, which are under the 786 Battalion. Here we're displaying the light water purification unit. It's a unit that when you're going out with a small squad of maybe 5, 6, 7 personnel, we will take this unit out and we will start producing water to supply them. We have other units like the bigger unit that carry 15 to 100 gallons per hour, and we also have another unit that carry 3,000 gallons per hour. Right, those are for more bigger platoons, brigades, battalions, and so forth.
It's called a light and arresting. This one's called fuse cutout. During a hurricane or a storm or lightning, what happens is that this system would absorb the heavy voltage coming into it. And as the voltage comes in, just like a hot water relief valve, this system releases the high voltage into the ground, protect the system and protecting your home. Many people have heard during a storm or in a bad weather, they hear this bang, this big noise, pow, and everybody say, my God, the transformer is blown. But actually what happens is that it's not really a transformer, it's just fuse. And this linkage here, the fuse blown and causes that noise. And this canister echoes the noise. So when you see this fuse drop out of the system, it's time to call the serviceman or call WAPA to get your call back on.
Coming up, some cultural events occurred over the weekend. We'll share them with you next.
This newscast has been sponsored by Mario's Virgin Crystal. Let us save you the hassle of lugging those jugs around. Purified bottled water conveniently delivered to your home or office. Also available in your favorite grocery store. Call 773-2810.
Now here's some highlights from PanFest.